All right, so get this. We're going deep on something that could completely change how you communicate.
Uh-oh. Changing how I talk. I better listen up then.
You and everyone else. Seriously, though, think about it. How many times have you wished you could get your point across better? Like in meetings, presentations, or even just with your family?
Yeah, more times than I can count, actually.
Right. So that's what we're exploring today, this 3G thing. It's a model for personalized communication. And apparently that's the key to being more effective.
Okay, so personalized communication.
Well-
How's that different from, just regular talking?
Well, from what I'm gathering from 3G communication, the company behind it, it's all about tapping into people's personality traits to figure out how they best receive information.
So like tailoring your message based on who you're talking to.
Exactly. And supposedly, it's not just some wishy-washy self-help stuff. It's built on some pretty solid empirical research.
Research, huh? Well, that's a good sign at least.
Right. And the guy who created it, Dr. Werner Bitterwolf, he's not just some random guru. He's got a background in psychology, A&D engineering.
Whoa, a psychologist, A&D, and engineer. Talk about a unique combination.
Right. You can tell he's all about taking a structured, almost scientific approach to communication.
Interesting. So where'd you find out all this about him?
Oh, just digging around on his website. It's got his bio, info on 3G, testimonials, all sorts of stuff.
So he's put a lot of thought into this. It's funny, on his website, there's this quote, "Solutions lurk everywhere."
I saw that. It's like he's saying effective communication is the key to unlocking all these hidden answers.
Yeah, and we're all searching for answers, aren't we?
Absolutely. So enough about Dr. Bitterwolf for now. Let's get back to 3G itself.
Okay, so what exactly does this 3G model look like?
Well, they break it down into these three orientations: relationship, action, and fact. And get this, you can analyze yourself, others, even objects like products or marketing campaigns through this 3G lens.
Whoa, hold on. Objects. Like, how can a coffee mug have a communication style?
I know, right? We've got to unpack that later. But first, I want to know what makes 3G different from all the other personality tests out there, like Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's personality test overload out there.
Seriously. So what makes 3G stand out?
Well, from what I'm seeing, it's really focused on practical application. Not just figuring out your type, but actually using that knowledge to improve your communication skills.
So no more vague advice. This is all about tangible results.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, stop just talking and start connecting.
I like that. So how do we actually learn to speak 3G? Do they have like a secret handshake or something?
No secret handshakes, thankfully. But they do have a qualification process, mostly seminars led by these certified 3G masters.
Sounds intense. Is there like a 3G university or something?
Not quite. But they also talk about integrating 3G into existing training programs like sales training or team development. So it's adaptable.
Okay, so you're not just learning theory, you're getting practical tools and strategies. I like that. But before we get into all that, let's break down those three core 3G orientations, starting with relationship.
Okay, so relationship people, what are they all about?
Hold on, before we get into that, I have a feeling I might be one of those relationship-oriented types. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out.
Stay tuned, because we're going to dive into each of these orientations when we come back.
And maybe even analyze ourselves along the way.
You got it. Don't go anywhere.
All right, so relationship orientation. What's the deal with these folks?
Well, think about people who just light up a room. They make you feel heard, understood, like you're the only person that matters. They're all about building genuine connections.
Okay, yeah, I get that. They're the ones who remember your birthday and actually ask how your day was.
Exactly. And in a professional setting, they're the team players, the collaborators, the ones who can smooth over conflict and build consensus.
It sounds like they'd be great to have around in any workplace. But I guess maybe too much relationship focus could be a problem sometimes too. Like, what if you need to make a tough decision or deliver bad news?
That's a good point. It's all about balance, right? Knowing when to prioritize harmony and when to push for action. Which brings us to our next orientation, action.
Yes, the get things done folks. I'm guessing these are the ones who are all about results, efficiency, maybe a little less about feelings.
You got it. Think about the project managers, the entrepreneurs, the people who thrive in fast-paced environments. They're laser-focused on goals, timelines, and concrete outcomes.
So a relationship person might be great at brainstorming and team building, but an action person is the one who actually gets the project off the ground.
Exactly. They're the ones who push things forward, keep everyone on track, and make sure things actually get done. But again, too much action focus can be a problem too, right? They might come across as pushy, impatient, or even insensitive if they're not careful.
Yeah, I can see that. So, let's see. We've got the feelers, the doers, who's left, the thinkers, maybe.
You nailed it. That's our fact orientation. These are the folks who are all about logic, data, and objective information.
Okay, so the analysts, the researchers, the engineers, the ones who need to see the evidence before they buy into anything.
Exactly. They're the ones who ask tough questions, poke holes in assumptions, and make sure decisions are based on solid facts, not just gut feelings.
Which is super valuable, of course.
Yeah.
But I guess if someone is too fact-oriented, they might struggle with things like empathy or intuition.
Definitely. It's like anything else. Too much of one thing can throw things off balance. But that's why understanding all three of these orientations is so important. It's about recognizing the strengths and potential weaknesses of each style and learning to adapt your communication accordingly.
So it's not about trying to change who you are. It's about learning to speak different languages, depending on who you're talking to.
Exactly. And that's where those 3G analysis tools come in. Remember, we talked about self-analysis, other analysis, even object analysis.
Right, the object analysis thing. I'm still a little confused about that one, to be honest.
Don't worry, we'll get to that. But first, I'm dying to know, what's your take on MY3G profile? Based on our conversation so far, what do you think?
That's a good question. You know, honestly, you seem like a pretty even mix of relationship and action.
Really? I thought I was more relationship heavy.
Well, you definitely have that warmth and enthusiasm, that natural ability to connect, but you're also really good at keeping things moving, getting to the point, which is definitely an action trait.
I never really thought about it that way. That's interesting. Okay, your turn. What about you? What's your dominant 3G orientation?
Oh, man. I'm not sure. Probably a mix of fact and action, I guess. I love digging into the details, getting to the heart of things, but I also like seeing those insights put into practice, actually making a difference.
That makes sense. You're like the perfect blend of researcher and strategist. Okay, but enough about us for now. Let's get back to those analysis tools, starting with that mysterious object analysis.
Okay, object analysis. Let's finally crack this code. Okay, so object analysis. It's not as weird as it sounds.
I hope not. Last time I checked, my coffee mug wasn't trying to start a conversation with me.
Right, it's not about objects literally talking. Think of it more like analyzing the message an object sends based on its design, its function, its overall vibe.
Okay, I'm kind of getting it. But give me a real-world example.
Let's say you're designing a website for a financial advisor. You could create two versions, right? One that's very sleek, minimalist, lots of white space, maybe black and white photos of successful-looking people. And then another version that's warmer, more inviting, maybe uses hand-drawn illustrations and brighter colors.
So the first one is like, we're serious, we're all business. And the second one is like, we're approachable, we're here to help.
Exactly. And you can use object analysis to decide which version resonates better with your target audience. Like, if you're targeting younger investors who are maybe a little intimidated by traditional finance, that Werner, more approachable design might feel less scary.
So you're matching the personality of the website to the communication style of your audience. Clever.
It's all about understanding how design choices, even subtle ones, can send a powerful message. And it's not just websites. Think about product packaging, store layouts, even the way a presentation is designed.
Okay, so it's like 3G is everywhere once you start looking for it. Pretty mind-blowing.
It is. But let's get back to you for a minute. You came to this deep dive wanting to improve your own communication skills, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. All this theory is fascinating, but I want to know what I can actually start doing differently.
Well, the first step is self-awareness. Really understanding your own communication style. Which of those 3G orientations do you identify with most strongly?
I think I'm starting to see myself as a mix of relationship and action, maybe with a little bit of fact thrown in.
Okay, good. Now think about how that impacts the way you communicate. Like, do you tend to lead with emotion or logic? Are you more focused on connecting with people or getting results?
Interesting. I've never really thought about it in those terms before.
It's all about understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Once you know those, you can start adapting your approach depending on who you're talking to.
Right. Like if I'm talking to someone who's super fact-oriented, I probably shouldn't start by telling them a long emotional story. I need to get to the point, show them the data.
Exactly. And if you're dealing with someone who's action-oriented, they don't need a lot of small talk. Just tell them what needs to be done and let them get on with it.
This is making me think of that quote from Dr. Bitterwolf again, the Solutions lurk everywhere. One, it's like once you have this 3G framework, you start seeing solutions to communication problems you didn't even realize you had.
Totally. It's all about having the right tools to decode those messages, both the ones we're sending and the ones we're receiving.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty energized after this deep dive.
Me too. It's like we've unlocked a whole new level of understanding.
So, to everyone listening, if you're ready to level up your communication game, 3G might be the missing piece you've been searching for.
And who knows, it might just change your life.
So go out there, start analyzing, start connecting, and most importantly, keep those aha moments coming.